So I mean, it's not spooky trivia, but it's still like a little piece of trivia.
Well, then
that
what's
I heard.
the point?
But
Just kidding.
Was it the hamster song? The
Oh, yeah.
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 Apparently, Disney sued the crap out of whoever made that song. I guess like the
Why?
recording label, because it's a sped up version of the Rooster song from Robin Hood. So Disney now owns the hamster song.
Wow, that's crazy. What's wrong with you?
Mac looks astounded. He looks
Monsterous
shocked.
Mac, Christopher.
Monstrous Mac is not
You're
sure.
not recording. Don't start with me.
I am recording. Look at it.
Wow, it really is. That saddens me.
No.
I appreciated those on separate notes. It's the same thing.
Welcome to So Anyway It's Haunted. I am one of your hosts, Ashley. With me are...
Chris Castaneda.
What do you say first name and last name? And who's this other guy?
Monsterous Mac.
Was I supposed to come up with a name?
My name's scary enough, so...
Wow.
Yeah, you're C-Bot.
C-Bot.
Yeah, you're
I don't know, I like that.
monot-
I don't think I like that at all.
monotonic research robot.
Yep. It has to be an acronym, though.
Of course.
We have to come up with an acronym. Not here.
Caramelized boyfriend of terror.
Oh, yeah, you got it. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Cannibalistic Chris.
Why did you get so close? Wait, stop! Don't get so close! Kenny, we really tried on this one. Please give us another chance.
Oh, no.
I heard about your secret message to,
You called
to
him out.
Monsterous Mac.
Great. Now I'm never gonna get assistance again.
Yeah, well, if you're are you cannibalistic, Chris? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Can I be Annihilation Ashley?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, cool. You don't have to get that.
You guys are taking away from my name, and I don't appreciate
Well,
it.
yours it wasn't that good in the first place. Monstrous Mac.
Wow.
It's
like,
fitting.
It's so...
That's a little
I don't
weird.
know. It's just a little juvenile.
It's what people see when they look at me.
Shut up. Not... No, if you want to talk about body dysmorphia, go to the Little Room show.
Oh,
All right. Oof.
Oof.
All right. Do we have any creepy things that happened to us this week? Anything we want to talk about? Creepy happening? You have a creepy story.
Less creepy, more just
Horrifying.
bizarre.
And,
Just actually fearing for your life.
Yeah.
Story.
yeah.
I won't list the wonderful occupation that I have, but I
Just know that it's 24 hours.
It's 24 hours, which in and of itself is always a guarantee for fun. And there was a lovely woman in her mid-20s to early 30s who came into my place of business to take care of some business, and she was wearing the bottom half of a fursuit. For this lady comes in, she's wearing the bottom half of a fursuit, and her boyfriend comes hobbling in on his crutches, and he's like, "Hey man, I want you to give me some change." And I was like, "Nah, there's been some robberies on this street, so they took away my cash register." And he was like, "Then what you even do?" And he basically motions towards his crotch, where I noticed there's an
Shut
actual...
up. Did he really do
Yes,
He
yes.
pelvic
Really?
thrusted
Yes.
right
He,
in your face.
you know how when you're trying to look tough, you stick your thumb in your pants? Yeah, that's what he did.
What?
He stuck his thumb in the ring of his pants to because you're gonna look down at what his hand is motioning at, and I see a pistol, and I was like, that's a gun. But I was so just tired with life,
Wow.
and I didn't even think. So I was just like, yeah, no, I don't have any money. And he's like, "What you even do here?" And I was like, "I'm security." And he's like, "Psh, that's funny." And he like, eventually he, left the situation, helped his girlfriend with whatever she was working on, and left.
Do you think his crutches were real?
I don't know. In retrospect, I was like, maybe he would have dropped them and put 3, slammers into my chest. I didn't even think about it.
That's what they call them. Pogs?
Yeah, 3 pogs.
Oh, well.
Yeah. But
Well,
that happened. And then moments
frightening.
later, I was like, oh, yeah, that was a gun. It wasn't really spooky, though.
I mean, it wasn't a spook. You can't always have spooky stories, but
I could have became
that
the
was
spook.
a harrowing story. It was
Okay.
very harrowing.
It was quite harrowing.
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 Harrowing. Cool. Very awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about spooky stuff, like haunted places, historical places that are haunted or cursed, as in the Driscoll Hotel, which is probably not haunted, but definitely cursed, for anyone who tries to own it.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about urban legends and maybe creepypastas. and urban legends. What's the other thing people say? It's like urban legends and folklore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Folklore, urban legends, and I will be reading your listener stories. I'm watching Monsterous Mac over here on Snapchat. Can't even be invested in his own podcast.
I am going over my research. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, on Snapchat you are. Yeah, I'm sure. Cool.
Sweet.
Do you want to go first? Cannibalistic Christopher?
Sure. I have my stuff on the computer, though. Okay. So, this week, I wanted to talk about Chicago and the Great Chicago Fire.
Wait, Chicago or Chicago?
Chicago and the Great Chicago Fire.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright. I was just wondering.
I don't think you ever have a fire and not have just bad vibes around it. I mean,
Chicago has a lot of fires.
The Chicago Fire.
Yeah, this isn't even the most deadly fire.
It's
that
not
Chicago-
the most deadly?
No.
Why didn't you do the most deadly?
Because this has slightly more ghosts.
What?
Yeah. Well,
What?
I mean, it's the whole city.
How do I not know
Chicago
about
was on
this?
fire.
What? You don't know about the Great Chicago Fire?
Okay, alright. Don't come at me like that.
Gosh.
Like somebody knows about the Great Chicago Fire. What's happening over here? Can we just what?
Don't know if you're recording or not.
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh.
Yeah. Another shout
we have
out.
special guest, Easiest Maximus of YouTube fame.
What's his creepy name?
Chris.
He's crying now.
Crying Christopher.
Yes, our recurring guest on the segment who sleeps on the floor like an animal.
Crying Chris.
You can make a noise, it's fine. Casey, shout out to Casey. Casey,
No, quiet you.
your boo's over here laying on the ground. He's, you should come over and cuddle him sometime. So,
Why are you?
Magnelli, what's wrong with you?
No.
Oh gosh. Sorry.
Sick.
Sorry.
Those were our butt mics. We all just got a little bit too excited.
With upgrades like these,
is
you
falling
never
apart.
stood a chance.
This is falling apart. Okay, tell me
Okay.
about this great fire that apparently I'd never heard of.
Okay, so the Great Chicago Fire. So the fire started around 9 p.m. on October 8th, 1871.
Oh man, they never stood a chance. 1871.
Yeah.
Did they even have fire departments back then?
They did.
Wow.
So
Buckets.
Yeah, it was buckets, right?
Everyone got one bucket, and it was filled with water. Yeah.
That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So city officials never determined the exact cause of the fire, but it's believed to have started in or near a small barn belonging to the O'Leary family. And that part is, for the most part, factual. But other theories on the...
Wait, not all of this is factual? Like other theories aren't
Well, they
based...
don't know exactly where it started.
Oh, well, sure.
Or like what caused it. But
I guess, yeah.
The sort of... the most factual part about this is that it started near this barn.
Okay.
Or around this barn.
Okay.
So the shed next to the barn was the first building to be consumed by the fire, and from there the fire quickly spread throughout the city. The fire spread was aided by the city's use of wood as a predominant building material. So everything was just like wood frame buildings, and it just like a giant tinderbox. More than 2/3 of the structures in Chicago at the time of the fire were made entirely of wood.
Oh my goodness.
With most of the houses and buildings being topped with highly flammable tar or shingle roofs.
So basically, they were just living in matchboxes.
Yeah.
Literal matchboxes.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's bad news. This is
That's
sort of
crazy.
like, this is kind of like the perfect storm for this fire to like demonstrate how destructive fire can be.
Yeah.
So all the city's sidewalks and many roads were also made of wood.
What?
And compounding this problem, Chicago received only 1 inch of rain from July 4th to October 9th,
No.
causing a severe drought conditions before the fire.
Wow.
While strong southwest winds helped to carry flying embers toward the heart of the city. In 1871, the Chicago Fire Department had 185 firefighters, with just 17 horse-drawn steam engines to protect the entire city. And although firefighters were quick to respond to the fire, they were sent to the wrong location by the watchman Matthias Schaefer. This only allowed the fire to grow more out of control.
Sure.
The majority of the firefighters were also tired from fighting a large fire just a week earlier.
Buddies.
So, like, Chicago and fires is like, it's a big problem. Or it was a big problem.
Sure.
The actual uniforms for the firefighters were actually wooden too, which made for a much.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Wood dipped in kerosene.
It sealed all the creases. It protected
Yeah.
you from the heat.
Please
Yeah.
don't send me.
So firefighters had hoped that the south branch of the Chicago River and an area that had previously thoroughly burned would act as a natural fire break. So they were just like, hey, it's going to stop at the river. Like, obviously, it can't go over the river.
It can't go
right?
over the river, right?
Yeah.
The river can't catch on fire, right, guys?
However, as the fire grew, there were reports of a meteorological phenomenon known
What?
as a fire whirl. And this
What?
is bananas scary. As overheated air rises, it comes into contact with cooler air and begins to spin, creating a tornado-like effect.
Is that like a fire tornado?
It's a fire tornado.
Oh my gosh, I've seen pictures of these. This is horrible.
The fire whirls drove flaming debris through the air and across the main branch of the Chicago
Oh my
River
gosh.
to a railroad car carrying kerosene.
Shut up! Why is everything so
perfect storm.
flammable? Why is... Oh my
So
lord.
this ignited the fire on the north side of the Chicago and continued on to the heart of the city.
Oh my goodness.
You said it was a train carrying kerosene?
A train car carrying kerosene.
You don't think that with the
Wow.
fire going on, they would have been like, I know, it's not going to go past the river, but
Yeah.
maybe just this once we move the train.
Yeah, get all the just the
Lord.
bombs on the other side of the river out of the way.
The literal train bombs.
So despite this, the firefighters continued to try to save the city until a burning piece of timber lodged onto the roof of the city's waterworks.
What?
Within minutes, the interior of the building was engulfed in flames, and
Oh
the
my
building
goodness.
was destroyed.
Oh my goodness.
And with it, the city's water mains went dry, and the city was helpless.
I'm sorry. Who put a curse on Chicago? Someone cursed this
Yeah.
city. Like,
Yeah.
these things don't just happen. Like, you don't just... You know, like, what's the coincidence? Like, what are the odds that, like, it would create fire tornadoes and then, like, their water reserve would be, like, burned up or, like, evaporated?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. That's insane.
While I was writing this, I kept on thinking that this would be like a movie where Dwayne The Rock Johnson was one of the firefighters, and he was
Yeah.
like trying to save his family from
yeah.
the Chicago
sure.
fire.
Sure. And we'd be like, well, please, are you serious? None of this would really happen.
Yeah.
But it did.
The fire burned unchecked from building to building and block to block. But finally, on the evening of the 9th,
And this
so
started
in total,
on the 8th?
yeah,
Okay.
in total, the fire sort of like went for 2 whole days.
That's insane.
So on the evening of the 9th, as the fire started to burn itself out, it started raining. So this put an
well, that's a
end
blessing.
to the Great Chicago Fire. Although the smoldering remains of the city were still too hot for a survey of the damage to be completed for many days.
I mean, what do you do? Where do you go? What city is close? Like, where do the people go? You just, like,
I don't know.
walk out of the city? Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Or you run into the ocean? Not ocean, the lake or whatever?
To the lake. Well, yeah. So, so eventually the city determined that fire destroyed an area about 4 miles containing about 17,500 buildings and around.
Gosh.
It caused around $222 million in property damage,
Wow.
which in 2016 dollars is $4 billion,
Wow.
or equivalent to $4 billion.
That's insane.
Of the 300,000 residents of the city, about 100,000 of them were left homeless.
Okay.
120 bodies were recovered, but the death toll may have been as high as 300. The county coroner speculated that an accurate count was impossible, as some victims may have drowned or
Wow, yeah.
have been incinerated, leaving no remains.
Oh my goodness. How did I not know this was a thing? How did I not know there was a Chicago fire?
I remember it specifically because of one of the theories, and I think public school in America isn't
Yeah,
very
I was
good
literally
in
about to
general.
say, oh, it's because I went to public school in Texas. That's why I don't know
Yeah,
about
but the
this.
only thing, one of the only things I remember about this is the propaganda origin story that was sort of like the main theory of the time.
Was it racist?
It was anti-Irish, but I'll get to it in a second. Only 5 major buildings from the burnt-out districts were left standing. St. Ignatius College Prep, St. Michael's Church in Old Town, the Chicago Water Tower, which is like this giant limestone tower that looks really cool. Chicago Avenue Pumping Station, the police constable Bellinger's cottage at 2121 North Hudson. So the origins of the fire are still disputed and ultimately unknown. One of the more well-known theories propagated by the Chicago Tribune is that Mrs. O'Leary's cow knocked over an oil lantern while she was milking it. But this was just a piece of anti-Irish propaganda. And in 1893, reporter Michael Ahern retracted the cow and lantern story, admitting that he had fabricated the entire thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even if, like, what makes that? That could have been
Anti-Irish?
Yeah, that could have been
Yeah,
anybody's
that's
cow
what I
and
was
anybody's
thinking.
lanterns.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
those stupid Irish.
It wasn't
and their
like,
lanterns.
they were cooking
How dare they
potatoes
want a
again, and the
source
of-
potatoes caught on fire,
I don't know.
exploded everywhere, and then killed the whole city.
The O'Learys were never charged with anything, but in 1997, the Chicago City Council exonerated the entire family of any negligence or wrongdoing.
After everyone was dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Buds.
Let's see. Another theory is that propagated by amateur historian Richard Bales. He suggested the fire started when Daniel Pegleg Sullivan,
Oh, buddy.
who first reported the fire, ignited hay in the barn while trying to steal milk. Bales' evidence includes an account by Sullivan, who claimed in an inquiry before the Fire Department of Chicago on November 25th, 1871, that he saw, and this is what he said,
Yeah.
he saw the fire coming from the side of the barn and ran across DeKevin Street to free the animals from the barn, one of which included a cow owned by Sullivan's mother. Anthony De Bartolo reported evidence in the Chicago Tribune suggesting that Louis M. Kahn may have started the fire during a craps game. According to Kahn, on the night of the fire, he was gambling in the O'Leary's barn with one of their sons.
Why is everything happening in their
Everything in
barn?
that barn,
Like,
yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
it's like...
Well, I mean, this is where they believe that
barn
the
of the
fire
century.
started. Yeah.
But it's just like
where it
so
went
many. They're
down.
playing craps in there. This lady's milking her cow. This dude
I
wants some
was
milk.
playing
Like,
craps in the barn.
Everyone was in that barn. I don't know. It was a party
The
barn.
entire city of
Yeah.
Chicago was in it. It's like, wasn't us. It was the O'Learys.
What if it's like that story where like 1,000 people bite that one guy in China, and like so that one guy dies and no one can be blamed for his death because 1,000 people contribute. Everyone threw 1,000 matches into a pile of hay. So who can
we
be
need
blamed?
to go back to this biting story because I have also never heard that.
Oh,
that
really?
sounds disgusting and horrible.
Yeah.
Is it just an urban legend or something? Or like,
Yeah, it's just like an old story.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm on it.
So, according to Kahn, on the night of the fire, he was gambling in the O'Leary's barn with one of their sons and some other neighborhood boys. When Miss O'Leary came out to the barn to chase the gamblers away at around 9.
with the flaming torch,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Well,
and
they
then she
knocked
dropped it in the hay.
supposedly they knocked over a lantern in their flight. Following his death in 1942, Kahn bequeathed $35,000, which was assigned by his executors to the Medill School of Journalism at Northwest University. And the bequest was given to the school on September 28th, 1944, along with his confession. So I guess like after he died is when he sent the confession.
That he did it.
Yeah.
Really? So why isn't that one confirmed?
I don't know.
I mean,
you
with these
have no
cases-
evidence.
Yeah, I was about to
So I
say,
mean, they're just theories.
I guess.
A lot of the times it's people just wanting credit for something because it makes them famous and they have their name on something when they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like supposedly like 10 people killed Jimmy Hoffa, but like who really
Right.
killed him? You know.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true.
Um.
I mean, obviously it was his friend. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it.
Supposedly.
I don't know if you know it.
Maybe it was the Iceman.
I know. It wasn't Iceman. He's a pathological liar. We all know that. It was his friend that was in the car to get him in the car. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right.
The Hoffman.
Uh,
Dennis Hoffman, right? Is
oh,
that who you're talking about?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
An alternative theory first suggested in 1882 by Ignatius L. Donnelly in Ragnarok, The Age of Fire and Gravel. I guess that's his book.
Oh.
Is that the
But that was
fire?
all his name.
Is that the fire was caused by a meteor storm?
What?
Eyewitnesses reported sightings of spontaneous ignitions, lack of smoke, balls of fire falling from the sky,
Hmm. Oh my Lord.
and blue flames. According to Wood,
Wow.
these accounts suggest that the fires were caused by the methane that is commonly found in comets. But as meteorites are not known to start or spread fires and are cool to the touch after reaching the ground, this theory
okay.
has not found favor in the
Okay.
scientific community.
I did not know they were cold to touch.
Me neither.
Next meteor I find, I'm just going to go up and...
Grab it.
So I thought this story was really interesting,
Oh.
but there's not a ton of hauntings that are attributed
Okay.
to it.
Okay.
But there is some cool ones. The building that now houses Chicago's popular Excalibur nightclub was first erected to accommodate the Chicago Historical Society after its original building was reduced to ashes in the Great Chicago Fire. When the city went up in flames in October 1871, hundreds of people sought shelter inside the Historical Society's supposedly fireproof building,
Oh no.
but many never made it out.
Buddies. Oh, poor babies.
Patrons and employees of the nightclub have witnessed strange apparitions, and there have been multiple reports of people being pushed downstairs
Oh my goodness.
and over railings by an invisible force.
Okay, well, okay, look. I'm not a skeptic. But this is a nightclub, right?
Yeah.
Where people take drugs and get really drunk and don't know how to walk downstairs.
I supposedly, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not a skeptic,
Yeah.
but a skeptic would say,
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Also, it's a nightclub, it's dark. Maybe you see shadows, maybe,
yeah.
see a person fall and they're just really drunk and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, it was a ghost.
Or they don't want to appear like incapable or incompetent, so they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, someone pushed me." Yeah,
I'm
who's the
totally
jerk that pushed
sober.
me?
Somebody give me my keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good argument. Counter argument. If I was a ghost, I would choose a druggie over someone else because who's going to believe the druggie? Just saying.
Wait, what? Oh,
It-
like someone
I was
on
saying,
drugs?
yeah. If
Well, I mean, it's
if
not
I am
confirmed
an
they're on drugs,
apparition
but like,
and I'm looking for a good victim, I'm going to pick the guy that's already stumbling over himself because no one's going to believe that. They're going to be like, okay, he's a druggie. Why would I believe him?
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I fell for the ghost's plan all along.
In addition, one lonely candle located high up on a wall, out of reach without a ladder, has a strange habit of lighting itself. Which is just weird. Like, why wouldn't
What?
you take the candle down? Like, why is there a candle?
Everything in your town has caught on fire at one point and burned down. Please get rid of all candles. No more fireplaces.
It's
no more
just
candles.
an homage to the negligence of the 1800s. So the Chicago Water Tower, which is like it was constructed of limestone and was one of the five standing buildings after the fire, is supposedly home to the ghost of a man who perished there during the fire. According to legend, this heroic worker, and this is like legend.
Okay.
This is very
Man, you
this is
didn't
very
even have confidence
legendary.
in this one.
According to
Okay.
legend, this heroic worker stayed behind as the fire came closer, manning the pumps instead of fleeing for his life. But just before the flames reached him, he hanged himself in the structure rather than be burned to death.
But
I mean, okay. You know,
According,
I'm just going to let him have it.
according to legend, tourists and locals often glimpse the shadowy figure of a hanging man through the tower's upstairs
Ugh,
windows.
that's a nightmare.
There have also been numerous reports of phantom faces peering out from the high windows of the tower. They are perhaps the ghosts of those who suffocated while seeking refuge.
Wow.
And that is the story of the Great Chicago Fire.
He hung himself and it didn't it didn't work. So he's just waiting for the fire.
Yeah.
Rip.
Dark.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said,
Dark.
there's an even like deadlier Chicago fire. It's not as big, but like there was really only like one decent like ghost sort of related thing.
There was only one ghost story I could glean from it. Well, then, how close together were these two fires?
The one I'm talking about is the Iroquois theater fire. It's
Okay.
I think it was like 50 or 60 years after this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was in the 40s then, huh?
Yeah.
40s or 50s?
Yeah, and supposedly, I think close to like 1,000 people died. I don't know
That's
how big this theater
horrible.
is, but it must be gigantic.
That is awful.
Yeah, and a lot of them were kids.
That's so
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Wow.
The owner of the theater was like criminally prosecuted
Because he didn't
like,
have like proper exits or whatever? Or,
yeah,
like,
the exits were like
capacity?
barred and like
Oh my lord.
yeah, like the curtains were made of asbestos and like were highly flammable and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it was bad news.
Dude, well, I'm glad that he was prosecuted. Unlike that one guy who, it wasn't Boston, was it? That had the molasses.
The molasses, I think that is Boston.
Was it Boston?
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that dude that built that giant molasses.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
It's just like holding container.
Yeah, a giant holding container. It was like 1,000 feet tall or something.
That was
like
leaking molasses every
yes,
day.
Yes, and then it just exploded
Yeah.
and flooded the entire city and killed like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't get criminally prosecuted whatsoever.
Death by
At all.
molasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even test the container before they put molasses in it, not even with water.
I certainly hope that the headlines read "Death by molasses surprisingly quick."
It was. I think that's one of the things is like
It was
a
like
lot of
drowning
people,
horses.
Yeah. They
Like,
just like suffocate you like
yeah.
It's
It was just
crazy.
this 15-foot wall of molasses.
It's
Like,
insane.
it's horrible. Can you imagine? And then the guy didn't even get prosecuted for it.
Yeah, I don't want to imagine that.
Well,
Turd.
it's not my fault.
I didn't. Yeah.
If
He
they'd
just,
have
like-
ate it faster.
Whatever he said.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Me personally, I would.
and the townspeople knew. The townspeople knew it was dripping, or that it was leaking too. The townspeople would line up every day and get free molasses from this holding container.
Because it was just like
So
dripping
it was,
molasses
yeah,
onto
they
the
were just
street.
like, all right, sweet man,
Yeah.
dude, horrible. Are you getting this? All right, cool. Now for our next segment. Ooh,
Urban legends.
do your weird theremin noise.
Welcome to
Freak.
the Urban Legends part of the podcast. I'm your host, Monsterous Mac. So the first I have to bring to you is just a tidbit. I saw it. It technically qualifies as an urban legend, and it made me chuckle. So I just want to clarify that this is not because of the classification of person. It's just the fact alone
Yeah,
that
you
you
said
would...
this word earlier, and I was like, "That's a problematic word," but I
It's-
didn't want to.
Well, no,
I
it's
didn't want to
the
squelch
preferred
your-
it's the preferred term. It's not that. It's just why they
Let's yeah,
Let's crack into it.
dive into it. We can't say correct.
Sadly,
Oh, sorry.
seeing as this is
Someone else
a
is saying.
Oh, okay.
a 1990s urban legend.
90s? Really?
It was a hoax posted in a newspaper article stating a freak accident at a circus in northern Thailand, of all places.
Thailand.
And it was a...
Thailand doll is my favorite
It
medicine.
was simply titled Hippo Eats Dwarf.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
I don't know if dwarf is the right word.
It is, as
it?
far as I
I think
know.
little person is just.
I think
Is it
little
little
people
I
is
think they
more
prefer
PC.
to be called little people.
I could be
You know,
behind.
Let us email in at anywayit'shaunted@gmail.com. Let us know if we're being problematic. We don't want to be problematic, my dudes.
Yeah.
We just want to talk
Yeah,
about ghosts.
I'm
Anyways, who got eaten by? a
totally
hippo?
supportive. So sadly, the actor in question was never named because he doesn't exist.
Okay. Imagine that.
Yeah, and see, that's the reason why this is not my main article today. It's actually phony. I don't know who came up with it. It doesn't say where. I'm assuming it was America, but it doesn't say where this was popularized. But it's just an article state that in a freak accident at a circus in northern Thailand, a little person bounced off a trampoline into a yawning hippopotamus's
Stop.
mouth, where he
Stop.
was abruptly swallowed whole.
Stop.
Swallowed whole.
No.
Now, if you know
Oh, my
anything
Lord.
about hippopotamuses,
Hippopotami.
the hippopotami, they that's not how that works.
I mean, they are very violent.
They're
They will-
vicious.
They're
I mean, maybe
one
he
of
was yawning and
man's-
something was in his mouth suddenly, and he was like, I gotta get this, I gotta, gotta tear it apart.
I don't know that they eat people though. Do
Oh, they do.
They're carnivorous.
Let me clarify that
Well,
hippopotamus.
maybe they're omnivorous.
To follow up this article, I just wanted to real quickly mention that
Because they're like one of the leading deaths in like certain parts of Africa, right?
Yes.
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 Factual.
And he's Googling it.
I am. I mean, I know for a fact that it's the animal that kills the most humans, and sadly, it's just because of the ratio.
And it's not lions or whatever.
Yeah, no, it is the ratio of people in Africa
sharks.
to hippos,
They
and
should
I'm
have
sure.
a hippo week on Discovery Channel.
But to answer your question, people have been swallowed, chewed to death, and
That's
drowned
horrible.
by hippos.
That's
horrible.
I don't have the numbers, I'm sorry, but yes, they kill a lot of people every year. The record number used for hippos is usually used in an argument against sharks, where it's like
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, I don't want to go swimming." The sharks one, it's like, no, you should be. There's another killer out there,
Yeah.
and he's looking for you. They smell your blood. They want you.
And
Hippos
he's
don't do it for
hungry.
defense. They just enjoy the kill.
Oh.
Anyways, on to my actual article. So today's true. Well, I don't know if true.
Yeah.
But today's real
Well, I don't want to hear it if
Urban
it's not
legend.
true.
rip. This urban legend comes from, and I certainly hope I got this right. Was it Ohio? I'll correct myself later if the article says otherwise.
Just we'll dub your voice in.
I would Ohio, Utah.
Oh.
Just
Ohio.
run down the entire 50 right now.
Yeah, I'll just say all 50. So today's article is brought to you by legendsofamerica.com. I just want to state my sources before I, go too far.
Who cares?
So
Wow. Roasted.
today's urban legend
Wow,
is
roasted.
the Curse of the Petrified Forest Park
Wow.
in the National Monument of, we're going to say Ohio.
Really?
okay.
Petrified
Petrified
forest?
It's a
forest.
petrified forest. So to
That's
lead
so
up to
weird.
this, since this is not all just gibberish that I read on the internet,
Not all of it, most
the
of it.
petrified forest in whatever state it's in, I'm gonna figure that out. I'm so sorry, but the petrified forest is actually millions of years old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was back during the early BC ages, scientists don't even know an exact date, but during all the mess with the comets and the changing of the atmosphere and everything like that, this forest was like a lush swamp area where like alligators and stuff would thrive, and they would well, I don't know, that's just like the habitat, but
Yeah.
something occurred, and I don't know if it had to do with volcanic activity or change in the atmosphere, but it calcified
Whoa.
the entire forest.
That's crazy.
So
like
if you
over a
go
long
there
period
now,
of time.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, now if you go to this forest, it's like a national park, and like the park itself seems fine. I should state that feel free to visit. It's not in and of itself cursed. The interesting spin on this urban legend is that it's not going to the park that curses you. It's stealing from the park,
Okay.
the actual park itself. And one of the reasons why this one particularly stuck out to me is that there's like a Japanese folklore belief that if an item, a physical item, exists for like Chris on the floor. You know about this. How long is it that a item in the Japanese folklore has to exist
please
before
speak
it's
into the mic.
100 years.
100 years?
100 years.
Okay, so that
Chris is
that
the
belief-
information whipping boy of the podcast.
Anyways,
Weirdos.
so in their culture, it's 100 years, and it will develop its own like spirit, kind of like how the Native Americans were like, every tree, every animal has a spirit, has a connection. Well, this forest was like basically calcified
Yeah.
for millions of years. And so, it's just that same understanding that's like, it's been around for so long, something's up with it.
Yeah.
And so it starts in December 9th, 1962. The whole
recent.
monument received national park status. Today, the park covers 93,532.57 acres.
That's so many acres. You could
That's
die
a
immediately.
lot. Yeah. I can imagine that you could lose quite a few bodies in there. In the 1930s, visitors to the Petrified Forest began to report after taking a piece of petrified wood from the park, they would seemingly be cursed with bad luck. This curse continued to today and is now part of the park's history. In fact, there is a room dedicated to these hundreds of cursed thieves in the Rainbow
What?
Forest Museum in the Petrified Forest Park.
What?
From divorced to being jailed to medical condition to car problems, unemployment to generally
Okay.
I think that's called
bad
being
vibes.
human.
Yeah,
and
that's
even
called
death.
life.
Oh, wow.
It's called okay, but
And even death. These people eventually die. Wow. What a curse.
the Petrified Forest National Park has received bucket loads of confessions, tales of tragedy, and returned petrified wood from those who have lived to regret it.
Wow.
Like the curse of Hope Diamond or the alleged ruined lives of those who had tampered with Egyptian pharaohs, bad luck came to those who possessed stolen petrified wood from the park, prompting thousands to send it back.
That's interesting.
Wow. I feel like there was an X-Files episode based on something like this, but I
I
can't
wouldn't be
really
surprised,
remember.
yeah. So, for decades, the Petrified Forest had received pilfered samples in the mail, returned by visitors who regret having stolen them. Notes that included the fragments described their lives wrought with misfortune since the rock's theft. In the letters, filchers plead with the park officials to return the pieces to their rightful place. Okay. One visitor describes a piece of petrified wood had been taken for more than 10 years earlier. It was a great challenge sneaking it out of the park, he wrote. Since that time, though, nothing in my life has gone right.
How do you
Put it
use
down
li-
your pants, man.
No, I mean, like, how do you chip off a piece of petrified wood? Aren't they, like, super, like...
I don't know.
Is it... I guess
It's like
chipping off granite or something.
it really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I've got a photo of it here, and they're like, it's basically like
They take their
a
own
precious
chisel.
stone at this point.
Wow,
They-
that's crazy.
Wow.
yeah, they're like,
Wow. I imagine you could probably
Wow.
just... If they have a gift shop, you could probably just buy.
No,
You know,
why would they
the legal
sell
version.
it?
They import it.
Oh, from
Yeah,
another.
it's a different-
Okay,
yeah.
non-cursed.
Another pleaded, my life has been totally destroyed since we've taken this back from vacation. Please put these back so my life can get back to normal. Let me start over again.
And they send it back to him with the letter that just says no.
It's too late.
I mean, bro. You knew the one rule, which is don't steal this, and you
Yeah.
broke the one rule, which is don't steal this. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you expect, man?
They go to the same park ranger that helped them walk through, and they're like, look, I couldn't even mail this. I just want to make sure. Please put this back. And his eyes roll back, and he starts floating. Goes, it's too late. And he like envelops the entire park, and
He implodes.
yeah, envelopes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he becomes a massive envelope. They have to send it back. They have to send the park back.
Man.
At the southern entrance to the park
So
is a pile
inconvenient.
of conscious rocks. I don't know what that means. And not
Conscious
only,
rocks.
and it is not
I don't know what that
only
means.
one. There are other piles throughout the park. Unfortunately, the rocks are moved. They cannot be put back in the park because they are out of scientific context. The park is a thriving site for archaeological, geological, and paleontological research. Moving rocks and other artifacts affects the value of the scientific study.
I imagine
So-
they love that stuff because it's just like a time capsule to like.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like, you're literally
Hundreds of
taking
Bunch of
something
nerds.
out of,
Millions
like,
of years
out
ago.
of the piece of time that it was from.
Wow.
So it's like, when people return, they're like, oh, please, please, please. And they're like, no. You can put it in that pile with the rest of the stolen rocks.
We don't know where you got it. Jeez.
Nice going, sticky fingers. You're cursed for life. Oh, wait, I already read that. The Rainbow Forest Museum is a display called Mystery of the Conscious Wood. Conscious wood. A large piece of petrified wood sits on the bench. It was returned by a man who said he had stolen it 66 years ago. A 3-ring binder sits beneath the display that contains letters from all over the world, conspiring some 1,200 pages of guilt-ridden letters. The oldest conscious letter dates back to 1935. The letter describes the feelings of bad luck that the man may have experienced. You're right. It's a curse to take wood from the forest. My girlfriend of 3 years had finished with me and driven home. So here's your wood back.
Maybe it was because you were drinking and you didn't treat her properly and you were looking at other girls.
I think people are like looking for scapegoats to say like, oh, this is why my life is
They could.
Oh, you think so?
turning
This is
upside
why
down.
everything sucks.
Yeah.
The
It's
rest
not
of
just like
these-
living.
The rest of
Yeah.
these are accounts from the book. So
I mean,
you can
you know-
tell me what sounds phony and what doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not trying to knock any curse,
yeah.
man. You know, like if that's that dude's curse is curse, man.
There's,
you know,
there's
not
only one
knocking
way to
anybody,
test
man.
this. I mean,
No,
we gotta
No.
steal some
you
of
can
this.
have bad luck for the rest of your
Yeah.
life and put yours and your rock into the trash rock pile.
I knew it. It's the rocks. These miserable rocks have caused pure havoc in my love life. By the time these rocks reach you, they should be
TMI.
back. Things should be back to normal. If not, I give up, dateless and desperate.
Oh,
Rip.
okay.
I mean, there's some things. There's some things that not even a curse can fix. Believe me, I would have known if I would have known the curse would have went through with any of these rocks, I would have never taken these. My life has been totally destroyed since we've been back from vacation. Please take these so my life will get back to normal. Let me start over. Forgive me for ever taking these.
The
He doesn't-
petrified wood is not letting me take showers.
I'm so stinky all the time.
Stinky,
Stinky.
I'm
stinky
such a
boy.
glutton. I can't stop eating. It's the rock. The rock won't let me. I'm so fat. When we were there, we read the letters of many people who had returned wood to you and the tales of bad luck, ruined marriages, as well as other stories of misfortune. At first, we did not believe the rambling of such obviously superstitious persons, but upon a review of the life and lack of luck of our family before these past 30 years, we begun to wonder if it's possible the legend could have some truth to it. I don't understand. Is this guy just saying that in general he's unlucky and he didn't steal a rock? He's just like, I don't know, man. I think I'm cursed too. And they're like,
I sneezed on a rock.
you
and
didn't-
I broke my leg.
you didn't.
5 years later.
Yeah.
I used the restrooms on the park. I probably defiled something. 30 years
Like
I've been
Jennifer
unlucky.
Lawrence when she scratched her butt on those
Oh
sacred
yeah,
rocks
you don't want
in
to scratch your
Hawaii.
butt
Come
on
on.
those petrified
Come on,
woods.
Oh my
J-Law.
goodness.
Come on.
But the last one states, I picked up this petrified rock about 13 years ago when I visited the national park. I came across it today and decided I should send it back to you. I'm sorry that I took it and I wish for you to have it back. Thank you. P.S. It has been bad luck to me. See, no,
But
it's
okay,
one
wait.
of those
Do they
things that
ever go
sounds
into
really...
detail? They're just like,
No,
I've had bad
yeah.
luck. I've
Yeah,
had bad
sadly.
luck. So much bad luck.
Yeah.
I just don't find the motivation to get anything done. Maybe if I send this rock back, I can finally start getting my life back on track.
Yeah.
And then, it's a truly sad state of affairs, as tourists can purchase petrified woods collected legally from the private land. They just take the cursed rocks. They turn.
See, that's
Well,
the
we
thing.
can't-
They,
put
they
these
wipe the
back.
curse off of them.
That's the thing. Like just because you quote own this forest, you can go and take some, and they're not cursed.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's
to
why
me.
I'm saying, like, I think if they have a gift shop, there's gotta be like some sort of necklaces or rings.
Oh,
or
Yeah, but
petrified
like,
wood.
where
on
does
them.
the curse stop?
I don't know.
You know, at the gift shop,
I guess so.
you have
Yeah,
to
at the
legally
gift
pay
shop.
for them.
Yeah.
The
They wave
forest
a little wand
knows.
over them, and if it
Uh-huh.
lights up green, there's curse on it.
Beep, beep.
Yeah.
They wave it over, and the ones that are just like, like, put it back in the pile. It's not ripe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But,
what do you think about this forest?
I think it is very interesting to have something that has actually been around for millions of years. And the concept of, like, something existing for that long, just developing some kind of, like,
Supernatural
aura
power.
Yeah.
around it, you know, like, I can see that. I can see
Conscious
it.
rocks.
I don't,
like
I don't, there's no actual physical evidence of it, but it's just, you know, there's just something about items that, you know, survive history and, like,
Yeah.
what they represent.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't steal the Mona Lisa because I just feel like, you know, at night she would, you know, crawl out of the painting. And, you know,
Is
Yeah.
she the original Grudge lady?
probably.
The Italian Grudge lady?
They tell she's like, arrivederci. She chokes you to
Okay,
death.
that's the only word she knows.
She puts raviolis in your mouth.
when the police find you, you're doing like a half smile, just like her in the painting.
Is it a smile? We don't know.
But this has been a less creepy urban legend, but I'm saving the good spooks for later. I wanted to talk about something that was
You gotta keep them
ancient,
up your sleeve.
ancient history.
Ancient history.
That's good.
Thank you. That was the outro song to your segment. Okay, alright, you're welcome for writing you a song.
I want to go to that forest, though.
Alright. No, we're not going to that forest.
Yeah,
I
let's
want to
go.
go to it, yeah.
It's either in
You
Utah
two
or
fools.
Ohio.
Yes, first you have to figure out where it is. You just go to Ohio and you're like, hey, so there's a forest somewhere.
Hey, where's your
Yo, where the forest at?
Where's the first wood?
Hey,
You're like,
where the forest at? Everybody see the leprechaun say, hey!
Yep.
Alright, my dudes. So let's start with the story. And here is the story. Sorry. Okay.
I just assume it's a Disney Channel thing whenever you start singing like a theme songy type thing.
No,
And
it's,
I'm just
it's
like-
never anything I know. It's just, I'm just
Yeah.
always making it up.
And I'm just like, oh, it must have been like some sort of sitcom.
So here is a story. No, I'm just making that up. Cha-cha, please be quiet.
Can we actually pause for a second?
Yeah.
I've got to go to the little boy's room.
Oh,
Of
no.
course you do, weirdo. This is where I'm gonna put theremin music in for elevator music.
Should I pause it?
Also,
No, don't pause it.
This is a thing based off of if they're mistreated, mostly. Oh, mistreated. It's either if they're like treated really well or like horribly mistreated. 100 years later, that like comes to life.
So you wouldn't want to make a butt plug out of
Stop, Christopher. Christopher, you did not just say that. I cannot believe you just said that. Oh my lord. I'm gonna put that in. You're gonna regret ever saying it. I'm putting that in. You guys are a bunch of freaks. Bunch of freaks, I swear. All I want to do is make a spooky podcast, and you gotta say some crap like that. Oh my lord. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a couple short stories. So the first one, seriously, Chuch-up, for real. Chuch-up. She keeps getting closer to your mic.
Stop it.
Okay, so this is from a listener who got her mom to tell a story. Her mom really just told, like, the shortest story possible.
She saw a ghost.
She saw a ghost.
It's spook.
It's spook. That's the ghost.
Wow. I'm telling Gabe you said that.
It's not Gabe. All right. Okay, so I was here we go, guys. Be respectful. The respect.
Gabe's mom tells a ghost story. I can hear that. Gabe, what is the ghost doing in the bathroom?
It was so scary.
I tried to flush the toilet, but the toilet wouldn't flush. And Gabe says, oh, gabagoo.
Gabe,
That's exactly how it sounds. How'd you?
Gabe. Gabe, I've never met your mom. I want to say that I'm completely exonerated from this conversation. Anyway, okay, so here we go. I was rocking in my grandma's chair, and this little girl with super long hair was standing in the living room watching me rock. She had on a white dress and was barefooted. She also had bangs. It scared me.
Oh.
That's it. That's the
Did
story.
she react?
I mean, it is
I
scary,
don't
but I do have to ask, like,
Can you call her up?
like, is there like levels to ghosting, and like, do you not get regular outfits until you're like, you know,
mean, no,
an
man.
advanced ghost? Because it always
Yeah.
seems like when it comes to scary ghost girls, they have
They have
long
the
hair,
same hair.
usually like dark.
Yeah.
I won't say black, but usually dark hair, and they never have shoes. It's always like a white like nightgown or something.
Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
waiting for the ghosts that have pixie cuts and?
Yes.
Oh my lord. The Manic Pixie
Shaved
Dream
heads.
Girl ghosts.
No, yeah.
Shaved heads. Why'd you look at me when you said that?
Please haunt me.
I wonder.
You're like, shaved heads. Direct eye contact. Alright, so here's another one. So this is from my Uncle Jerry. He's really not technically my uncle, but he was my dad's best friend in high school all the way through. So in the first episode, I talked about how my parents lived with two of their friends in a haunted trailer when they had me. And then their friends also had a baby that was a couple months older than me. And so they lived in this haunted trailer, and I recently kind of got in touch with my Uncle Jerry and his ex-wife, Sandra, and then asked my dad about it and asked my mom about it. And so this is one story. My dad told me one story, but I want to read it in his own words when he's ready to send it to me. But this is from Uncle Jerry. This is his part of the haunted trailer that happened in like 91, 92. Every couple who came over to party with us would end up in a big fight before they left, not from the drinking. I had something sit beside me on the bed. I felt the mattress pressed down. Your mom and dad were gone, and Sandra had her cousin and family come to stay, so we slept in your parents' room. The next morning, her cousin said that in the middle of the night, one of their sons sat up and pointed at our closet and said, "It's in there, Mommy. It's in there." Yeah.
It's in there?
Yes, it's in there.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sure my mom's gonna send me a couple. 'Cause I asked her to kind of send me these stories.
Yeah.
What I can remember is they had like a little dog that would always bark at the corner of the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
When nothing was there.
Yeah.
She also like saw some figures. And what my dad told me was, I'll just kind of give a quick thing. My mom has told me this before, that when I was a baby, I would sleep between them like an infant. I would sleep between them in the bed. And my mom has told me in the past, she remembers these gray shadows kind of like hovering above me, like dancing above me.
Yeah.
And what my dad told me yesterday, which I want him to send in, he's also going to send in a childhood story. What my dad told me yesterday was the one thing he remembers is that at night he would have like... He would get really paranoid when he was going to sleep, and he would kind of like have these feelings like someone was in the room. And one night in particular, he was sleeping. I was in between them as an infant, and he felt something was in the room, and so he opened his eyes, and hovering over them was a black figure, like hovering directly over me as a baby. And so he like yelled at it, and basically it was like you can't touch my family, like if you think you're gonna mess with my family, you can try and mess with me, but you're not gonna mess with my family. And then he never had issues ever again. So that's the thing, but that will be a continuing saga into the haunted trailer.
And this is stories from you.
Yeah.
This is stories from my family. That was
Yeah.
from my dad. Yeah. And my mom will send in things. My mom sent in a separate story that was from when I was a little bit older. Okay, so here we go. This is from Keith, who is a friend. This is not Keith's story, but this is someone that he works with. Keith hasn't had anything paranormal happen to him.
Yeah.
But he had someone at work like he's friends with, and they're like, "Oh yeah, dude, I totally have a ghost story." So Keith was able to type it up. So here we go.
Okay.
I had just purchased my first home in Baytown.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. It is an older home, and I was told the previous owner was an older gentleman who passed away, so the family cleaned it up and sold it. My girlfriend and I are excited and moving in and getting all settled. I start moving boxes into the master closet, and I find a box in the corner. Assuming it was left from the previous owner, I'm curious and decided to see what was in it. To my surprise, the box was empty, but out of nowhere I hear someone scream, "No!"
Whoa.
My girlfriend starts screaming, "What have you done? You've just released a demon upon us."
What? Should we just keeping it in the tiny box?
We had just watched the movie Possession a few nights ago, which is a movie based on a true story about a girl opening a box and releasing demons into her house.
Oh.
So I guess the girlfriend was like joking. Yeah. The thing called A Joke.
Oh, I've
yeah,
heard
it came
of them.
out like a few years ago. I brush it off and tell her she's crazy and just throw it away. But ever since then, I felt an uneasiness while being alone in the house. I work shift work, so I'm either going into work or getting home early in the morning, and when I pass my hallway, I see a shadowy figure standing at the end.
Whoa.
I started leaving lights on in the house so it wouldn't be dark when I got up or got home. One day, I was working nights and my girlfriend was staying at her parents'. So I get back home and the house is pitch black. At this point, though, I've had enough. I walked into my house and started screaming at the top of my lungs, "I've had enough. This is my house. You don't live here anymore, old man. Get out."
Oh.
If you've got something to say, show yourself.
Uh-oh.
Then the lights all of a sudden turn on.
What?
And I almost had a heart attack from the figure standing in front of me. Sorry, I love your faces.
Okay.
My half-asleep girlfriend staring confused, asking me what in the world I'm doing.
Wait, what?
Apparently, she decided not to stay with
Oh
her
my
parents.
gosh.
But from that day forward, I've never felt the sense of unease or seen any figures in the hallway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Real life jump
Yeah.
scare.
That was a real-life jump scare.
So is he still living in Baytown?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he's still living in the house.
I wonder which house it is.
Maybe it was the one out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that you lived in.
I don't know. Maybe it was my.
I don't
Maybe it was my
know.
my great grandparents' house.
Maybe it was. Was your great grandparents' house haunted?
Was your
I don't
great
know.
grandfather a ghost?
Yes, actually, he was.
Until he retired.
Oh, brother.
Get out of here! This is my house. Okay, I go.
No. Peepaw.
Yeah, but that house is pretty creepy. I never stayed the night in it.
Oh, really?
It wasn't like, I don't know. I never stayed the night with those grandparents.
What was creepy about it?
It's just old. I don't know. It's just got a like old vibe, which
Yeah.
is like sort of off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's where I found. I took home. They were like getting rid of stuff whenever my great grandfather died.
Yeah.
They were getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and I took a mirror home from the attic.
Oh no.
But when it's the one that's still in my room at Jeff's house. But when I looked on the back, and there was a little like envelope in the back of the mirror.
Yeah.
And I opened it, and it was my parents' wedding invitation.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was
What do
pretty
you
crazy.
see when you look at the mirror, boy? I see my great-grandson. He happy. I pat his head.
Wait, what ethnicity is he? What is that accent?
Doesn't matter. He's
Yep.
he's your great.
Yeah.
That's how all great grandfathers are.
He happy. I pat him on the
All right, here's the last one. So this is actually from my mom, and this involves me actually, so I can tell my side of the story as well. So the dream in the other trailer when you ran to me. So this is not the trailer when I was an infant. Unfortunately, my family lived in 2 separate trailers. Maybe this is why I hate trailers.
Yeah,
Also, why I hate closets.
yeah.
Let's just say that. That's interesting that Uncle Jerry said the thing about the kid seeing something in a closet.
Yeah.
Because when I was older, when the trailer that the story I'm about to read with this trailer, when I was in this trailer as like a 7, 8, 9-year-old, I hated the closet and couldn't stand looking in it, and I always closed it. Like there's something
Yeah.
wrong about the closets, and I don't know what. Okay, so this is my mom speaking. I was in my room asleep, and I don't remember what I was dreaming at first, but all of a sudden, it jumped to me laying in bed with my eyes closed on the left side facing the wall towards your bedroom. So this is her dreaming that she can see herself. So she's seeing herself
So it's
sleeping.
like an out-of-body experience.
Yes. Which is exactly how I was laying in real life.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like she jumped out and could see herself. But in real life, your bedroom was on the other end of the trailer, and the walls for the laundry room, living room, Kaylee's room, which is my sister, bathroom, and your room were all between you and I. Anyway, in my dream, I had my eyes closed, but all of a sudden, I could see through all the walls, and it was like my eyes were moving through all that space until I was in your room, even though my body was still in bed, not moving. It's really hard to explain, but that's what it was like, and I instantly saw you asleep on your bed. Can you stop dropping your hashtag energy drinks, please?
It was agua.
Okay, here we go. Okay. It's really hard to explain, but that's what it was like. And I instantly saw you asleep on your bed with a demon stroking your hair and smiling. Yes, this is what my mom was dreaming. She told me later, like after this message, she called me and she said she forgot to say that he was red and he had horns.
Nope.
Okay.
Anyway, so he was stroking my hair and smiling. He was bigger than a normal man, very muscular, with no upper body clothes on. I don't remember looking down for clothing, but he did have a long, slender tail. And he turned his head and looked at me and smiled. Then I woke up for real to run to you, and at that exact moment, you screamed bloody murder and ran to me from the other end of the trailer. Like, for real to this day, it was one of the most terrifying things ever. You wouldn't tell me what made you scream, or what your nightmare was, or anything, but you didn't sleep in your room again, and I did not make you.
Man,
I was about to cry.
that's intense.
Yeah, so I remember, I don't remember what I saw. All I remember is screaming and running as fast as I could from my room to my parents' room.
Yeah.
Like something was chasing me. Like as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And so, she obviously didn't tell me that she was having this dream. I was like 7 years old. But for years after that, I would kind of talk about like the creepy closet in the trailer, or why I didn't like that trailer, or my room in the trailer, whatever.
Yeah.
And she would always say, yeah, I had a really, really horrifying dream. But she would never tell me what it was. Like, she literally would never tell me. And she didn't tell me until I was like, maybe like 22 or something like that, and I'm like 25 now. So like, she has kept this from me this whole time, but it is just insane.
Yeah.
And horrifying.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He turned to me and said, "Now I go to Mac's house."
So there you go, folks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was sufficiently
It's
spooky.
actually, I was about to
Yeah,
say that.
man.
I think
I
we
almost-
met our spooky quota
almost
for the
Yeah.
week.
Cried when I read that. Man, it was crazy. I still can't. I can't sleep with closets open.
Yeah.
Like,
It's unfortunate that we have the creepiest closet in the world.
we
now.
do have a really
that
creepy
you can
closet.
hide in, like
Yeah.
like loops around like a C. So
Yeah.
There's like a part of the closet that like someone could just be like standing in. You can't see them when you open the closet.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
For sure. When we moved in, and Macmillan, you helped us move in, we all agreed that closet is a demon closet. Like, there's something, and the stairs outside, because we live in a triplex, the stairs going up to our neighbor's house, demon stairs.
Yep.
5, sure, like, demon
They're
stairs.
like too windy.
They're too windy, and they're dark, and they're, like, old and creaky, and, like, it's so narrow.
Yeah. I don't think Vincent ever uses them.
Rarely, yeah, I don't think so either.
Of course not. He just puts his hands out and floats upwards.
It's effective.
Oh, man, it's wild. Anyway, yeah, I'm still scared of closets, and I don't know what I saw, man. Who knows, dude? Anyway, there you go.
You mentioned in episode 1 telling paranormal stuff about ourselves, and I have 2 short experiences that aren't the ones you're going to think they are, that I could share real quick if you'd like.
I'm interested in what you think I think they are.
Well, I think...
What do you think I think you think they are?
I'm going to share the story of the naked fat man in my house.
That's one of them.
I don't
and-
remember that one. I remember... What's the other one?
The other one is my reflection
Yep,
at
that's-
night.
that's the other one.
That's
Turning
the
and-
one.
Yeah.
Turning and smiling at me.
That's the one.
No, those are not the stories I will share today. Dun-dun. Tune in next week or the week after for me to eventually
Alright, great.
get around to the naked fat man.
Sure.
It's a good tease.
No, here's
Let it
actually I
tease.
have I'm gonna forget now. Hold on, I know the first one. What was the second one?
Did you just forget your own spooky
No,
stories?
I know the first one.
He's
It's
reading them off a script.
It's hanging in the air.
first story. Oh, man. Well, I guess I'll just share the one positive one. I had
Okay.
another one. I had a spook, but I was gonna give you one spook and one not spook, but I forgot the spook. So, the
Must have not been that
positive,
spooky.
the surprisingly positive spooky experience I had was I went to a convention once, and for one of the nights I stayed at a friend's house as opposed to going to a hotel. I don't know if this friend wants the story told. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't mind, but I'll clarify with them later and then tag them if I need to. But I stayed with a friend, and it was a couple, and the friend was like, "Hey, the guest room you'll be staying in tonight, it was my grandfather's. He's dead."
Okay.
And
Did he
I was
die
like,
in the
"Oh,
room?
okay, that's that's fine." And they were like, "Well, I should tell you that Grandpa's still here." And that several times that and it's
no.
and they were very serious and matter of fact about it. They're just like and it's a very positive thing. He's always watched over me. He's always like protected me. It's not like a bad thing. So if you notice anything or if you feel something, it's just Grandpa. And I was like, it's just Grandpa.
It's just great.
And then you say, "I forgot. I had a hotel reservation. Totally forgot about it. I just gotta zip out."
Yeah.
So I stayed there for the night, and I mean, it was probably the most restful sleep I've ever had. Felt like a gentle leathery hand was.
Grandpa
Stop.
Giuseppe was playing
Disrespect.
fiddle in the corner.
Disrespect.
It really put you to sleep.
I was really appreciative that was even shared with me, and it was it was a really nice positive experience. It wasn't anything negative.
That's good.
Man, Man.
Why don't you just tell one of the 2 stories you said you weren't going to tell until you remember the other one?
Rip.
You have one more time to say that. You've said that the entire episode. You have one more turn.
Well, it's. I have T-shirts. They say RIP. Stands for Ready and Presence. Because I'm always. Well, I guess I'll save the really scary one for another time. And that's the thing. I want to clarify first that I don't think that I'm like, susceptible particularly to
You're not
haunts.
sensitive.
Yeah, it's not that I'm sensitive, and I'm certainly, for my mother's sake, I'll say that I'm not saying our house is haunted.
We're not. Well, no, none of us are saying your house is haunted.
No one's
Miss
saying that.
McAnally.
I'm
It's
just
just very
saying
creepy.
that
No one's
this
saying
is
that.
this is what I personally experienced, whether it was through my own susceptibility and my cowardliness, which I am. But I was doing the laundry, which is a common factor in these stories.
This is a horrible story.
I was doing laundry late one day, and my family was all busy. They were all out doing something, who knows what.
Without you.
Yeah, without me. I was home by myself.
You're the
and,
Cinderella.
I was actually preparing to either go hang out with Cannibal Chris here or somebody. I don't know what my plan for the night was, but I was like, okay, I'm going to put these towels up. I'm going to grab my keys, and I'm just going to walk out the door. I grab the towels, and I start to turn to walk into the hallway. And I remember I was singing or whistling to something, and within my guest room, which is directly to the left of my kitchen when you walk out of it, which if there's one thing I have to really note about my house that I can't stand, a lot of houses are more open. You could stand in the kitchen and see another room or something like that. Every single room in this house is like sealed off in some way.
That's
it's
true.
like
It's
a Resident
not
Evil
open
house in the
concept.
fact that
It's
like,
a house of hallways.
it's specifically designed so that you have to like turn a corner to see anything.
Yeah.
And I walk into the hallway not even thinking, and like just out of my peripheral vision, I turn and I basically, I don't even want to say basically, I saw the outline of what appeared to be just a large, overweight man, nude from at least the top up, just standing and staring at me in my guest room. I scream at the top of my lungs. I drop the towels.
Wait, I'm sorry. Standing in the room.
Just standing.
Not outside the window.
Nope,
He
in the
looked like
house.
he was right there.
Wow.
I'm saying feet away from me.
Oh my
And,
lord.
and I threw the towels. I grabbed my keys. I ran out the door. I slammed the door, and I left. I was like, I'm not gonna be in this house. I will not be here by myself.
Yep.
If there's one thing I hate, it's being in that house by myself. I remember my second story, which sucks because that was technically the second story. I was just going to mention, and this is a common thread with a lot of people. It's sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
And
I have experienced
I
that.
did not have. I should say that I was lucky, if anything, because I experienced it with friends, with Kyle, Kenny, and my brother and some others at a gathering.
You want to tell everyone
I
what
think
you
I'll
call
refer-
a slumber party for guys?
I beg your pardon. I can tell you what they called
Oh, okay.
a slumber party for their
All
friends.
right. Okay, McNally, what is it called?
I wasn't even invited to these, mind you,
Okay.
until much later. They were called man-overs.
Oh my lord.
It sounds
Take that as you will,
It's just,
internet.
sounds like a
nasty.
man makeover.
It really was. They would paint each other's nails. They would play Halo, and then they would just say, okay, let's go around the corner, let's go around the circle and say one nice thing about the guy next to us.
Shut up. I like doing that. That's a good
That sounds
icebreaker.
pretty. That sounds
But
pretty positive.
I'll make this one quick. It was extremely late, and they had a tendency to stay up till my brother would fall asleep at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night, which they were like, "Why is he even here?" But they would stay up super late, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'd force myself to stay awake this long, and I was like, "Okay, I'll just lay on my back for like 5 seconds."
Yep. Nope.
No big deal. I could go into the layout of their house. I'm not going to. They had a dark hallway and a dark laundry room, which were both in my line of sight when I was laying down. And I was like, okay, I'll just close my eyes. I closed my eyes for just like 2 minutes, and my eyes shoot awake. And I have never read about it. I had never studied it before. I didn't know what sleep paralysis was. And I realized, like, okay. And I just thought, for the first few seconds, I was like, I'm just comfortable. I'm laying here. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to sit up. Can't sit up.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, what? And I tried to lift my arms. Can't lift my arms. I tried to, like, twist or turn. And then I was like, okay, I'll just say something. I was like,
Oh no.
I was like,
Oh my
what
gosh.
is going on? And then I was like, okay, I don't know why, but if there's one thing, I do not want to look at their really dark laundry room.
Yep.
But of course, if there's
But you
one,
have
if
to.
you know me, if you know Mac, I just can't help it. I'm the world's biggest coward. I am a chicken heart, but I just, I'm attracted to it. I just want to see it, and I look over, and I just see like what appears to be like a dark figure, like slowly putting its hands on the doorway.
Oh my
Wow.
lord.
And,
Okay,
like-
wait. So this wasn't their other brother. This wasn't their dad.
No, they were all in the living room playing Halo or something like that, and like
Wait, so they were still awake?
Oh yeah, no, they were sitting
I
around
thought
me.
everyone was sleeping.
No,
They stay up
that
all
would,
night.
That would be
Oh.
a lot worse if they were asleep. So, like I said, thankfully, like I was probably
So you saw this happen while
people were actively.
that's crazy. I
and
did not know
it's
that.
something out of like I wouldn't say a horror movie, but like a horror game. It's just like a trope where like my friends were like barely visible to me. I could see like people shifting in their seats. In the right side corner of my eye, but in the left side, I can't break eye contact. Now I'm like, look away, look away, look away, look away.
Yeah.
I can't. And this thing is like slowly starting to come out of the laundry room and just like start to like come towards me. And I was like, no,
Wait,
no,
what
no,
did
no,
it
no,
look
no.
like? Explain it to me.
What
do you
It
remember?
was just like really tall and shrouded in darkness.
Did it have eyes? Did it have
I
features?
refused to try to look at what would be a face was. I just remember
Wow.
like a silhouette basically
Okay.
of a person. I didn't see. I later, when I found out what sleep paralysis was, I watched the documentary and all that other stuff. I didn't see no Hat Man. I didn't see nothing like that, but I definitely did see like some looming figure trying to come out of a laundry room. And
Shadow person.
I can almost guarantee that it was just me panicking. But like, luckily, Kyle like sees my eyes wide open and sees me like shaking feverishly.
Oh my god.
And he like smacks me in the chest and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I like shoot up and I was like, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Nothing." Halo. And I look over. There's nothing in the laundry room.
Yeah.
That's so
But
scary.
it was a trauma.
So no one else saw it.
No one else saw it,
Okay.
and it has affected me so much mentally. I still, within the past month, I tried for the first time ever when I thought I was being all zen that I was like, okay, I'm going to sleep on my back tonight. I'm going to finally do it.
Yeah.
I have not slept on my back since that night, and that was back in high school.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, tonight I'm going to do it because technically sleeping on your back is like the most healthy way of sleeping, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
That's
And
true.
like 2 hours later, I woke up just like sweating and feverishly shaking. I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I was just panicked. I have to sleep on my side now.
Wow.
I can't.
That's insane.
My mind is too like, you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
So that's
crazy.
those are some tidbits about Mac.
Thank you for sharing that
Very
with us.
spooked. Very spooked.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that's spooky.
Yeah.
I've seen my own shadow people. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Anything else?
I'll save more for another.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. What I'll say is look out for our Patreon. We're going to be posting a Patreon soon. If you guys are down to donate, that's super cool. If not, whatever, we're still going to be posting episodes because we love this and we love you guys.
Yeah.
It goes without saying, but obviously any money raised by Patreon would just go towards making the show better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
We're
mean-
not just looking to quit our day jobs here.
No. We'd love to do like merch. We like
yeah.
Chris, cannibalistic Chris.
Jeez.
Yeah, let's drop that immediately.
Thank you.
That was like the worst bit of improv.
honey.
Stupid.
Well, Chris is a graphic designer and just makes amazing designs. And he's also an artist and amazing. And Mac and Ellie can draw too sometimes. So, we'd love to make merch for you guys. We'd love to do live shows. That would be super awesome. Definitely look out for our Patreon. Follow us on Anyway It's Haunted at Gmail. Go to our YouTube. We also have our episodes on YouTube. I believe it's just So Anyway It's Haunted or Anyway It's Haunted. Email us your listener stories, man. Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis? Have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever seen a specter? Have you ever had a dream about your child being stroked by a demon and then you wake up and your child's screaming and running toward you in the middle of the night and you're paralyzed in fear? If so, let me know, man. I would love to read your story. I'd love to share your experience. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Stay spooky.
Ooh.
Hey, you. I don't like your spook.
No.
Next
No,
time.
it didn't. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, whoa, bark.
I'll leave you with this. My dad was afraid of the giant armadillo. Dun-dun.
No, that's a sad story. We don't like that story.
What?
When
You-
your dad shot the armadillo.
No. He was afraid of the giant armadillo.
What?
And you'll find out next week. Dun-dun.
Anyway, last thing. If you like us, if you know us, even if you don't like us and you know us, you don't care about listening to this podcast, but you're just a friend, you just want to be supportive of your friends, could you please rate and review us on iTunes? That is the way that we can get this podcast out there. We can share more stories. We can talk more spooky spooks, more ghouls, spooky, scary things with more people. Just rate and review us, even if you just say nice, or even if you you
It
just
is
say
good.
Like write a love letter to McAnally. I'm sure he would really enjoy that. He would cry. Or just like give us some stars, man. You know,
Yeah.
at least more than one. Don't, if you're just gonna give us 1 star, just please don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, there we go. We're also on Stitcher. So Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, and Instagram, and yeah, we will see you next week. This has been So Anyway It's Haunted.
Yeah.
So anyway it's haunted. Cool.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Rip.